They tried to destroy her. 300 patients endangered. One pharmacist silenced. But she had been documenting everything. What happened next brought an entire hospital board to its knees. Her name was Rachel, and for 12 years, she had been the head pharmacist at Mercy General Hospital. She knew every medication, every protocol, every safety check by heart. So when patients started showing unusual reactions to common medications, she noticed immediately. At first, she thought it was coincidence. Then she thought it was contamination. But when she started digging into the supply records, she found something that made her blood run cold. The medications weren't what the labels said they were. Someone had been substituting cheaper, less effective alternatives, and pocketing the difference. And the paper trail led straight to the hospital's executive suite. But here's where it gets strange. When Rachel tried to report her findings to the chief medical officer, he smiled at her. Not a friendly smile. The kind of smile that says you just made a very dangerous mistake. Within 48 hours, Rachel's world collapsed. First, there was an anonymous complaint about her medication handling procedures. Then, mysterious errors started appearing in patient records with her digital signature. Medications she never dispensed. Dosages she never approved. It was like watching someone build a prison around her, brick by brick. The hospital launched an official investigation, and suddenly Rachel found herself suspended pending review. 12 years of perfect service meant nothing. Her colleagues avoided eye contact in the hallways. And then karma showed up. Because Rachel wasn't just a pharmacist. She was also the daughter of a federal prosecutor. And from the moment she saw that smile on the chief medical officer's face, she knew exactly what she needed to do. She started documenting everything. Every altered record. Every suspicious transaction. Every whispered conversation she overheard. If they wanted to play dirty, she would show them what dirty really looked like. For 3 months, Rachel played the perfect victim. She attended every disciplinary hearing with her head down. She answered every accusatory question with polite cooperation. And every single night, she added to her evidence file. What the board didn't know was that Rachel had a photographic memory for numbers. Every invoice she'd ever processed was burned into her brain. So when they altered records to frame her, she knew exactly which ones they changed, and what the originals said. She reconstructed months of legitimate transactions from memory. But here's the thing. Rachel wasn't just building a defense. She was building a case. She tracked the money. Over $2 million skimmed from medication budgets in just 18 months. She identified the shell company receiving payments, registered to the chief financial officer's brother-in-law. She found emails discussing how to hide the substitutions during state inspections. What happened next shocked everyone. Because Rachel wasn't planning to just clear her name. She was planning to burn the whole corrupt system to the ground. Think about that for a second. $2 million stolen. 300 patients given substandard medications. And the hospital board thought they could pin it all on one woman. They scheduled her termination hearing for a Friday afternoon, probably thinking she'd spend the weekend crying. Instead, Rachel spent that Thursday night making copies of everything. Let me put this in perspective. She had 1,700 pages of documentation. Bank records. Email printouts. Photographs of altered invoices. Sworn statements from 3 nurses who'd noticed discrepancies, but were too scared to speak up. She had the chief medical officer on audio admitting they needed to find a fall guy before the state audit. And she had something else. Something the board never saw coming. Her father's contact list included a senior investigator at the Department of Health and Human Services. One phone call. That's all it took. By Friday morning, federal investigators were already reviewing her evidence package. But, everything I just told you? That's just the setup. The real story is what happened in that termination hearing. Rachel walked into that conference room knowing something the 7 board members didn't. Federal agents were already executing search warrants at the hospital's financial offices. As the board chair read the charges against her, listing fabricated errors and falsified complaints, Rachel sat silently. They presented their evidence. They made their accusations. They gave her one final chance to resign quietly. And that's when Rachel smiled. The same smile the chief medical officer had given her 3 months earlier. She reached into her bag and pulled out not 1, but 2 folders. The first contained her resignation letter. The second contained a summary of her evidence package, already in federal hands. The tables were about to turn. The room went silent. 7 faces went pale simultaneously. And then her phone buzzed with a text from her father. It said simply, "They're in." What they did next was legendary. The chief medical officer stood up so fast his chair fell over. He demanded to know what was in that folder. Rachel didn't say a word. She just slid it across the table and watched them read. Their own emails. Their own financial records. Their own admissions of guilt. The hospital's attorney immediately called for a recess, but Rachel informed them there was no point. Federal investigators were already in the building. The chief financial officer tried to leave the room and found 2 agents waiting in the hallway. And this is where it gets good. Because Rachel had one more card to play. She'd given investigators something else. Recordings of the board discussing which patients could safely receive substituted medications without dying. They actually ranked patients by how likely their families were to sue. They called it the risk assessment matrix. When that recording played in the federal prosecutor's office, 3 board members immediately tried to negotiate plea deals. They turned on each other faster than rats fleeing a sinking ship. But wait, the best part is coming. The investigation expanded beyond anyone's expectations. It turned out Mercy General wasn't the only hospital involved. The shell company receiving payments was connected to 3 other medical facilities in the region. Same scheme. Different victims. Rachel's evidence didn't just expose corruption at one hospital. It blew open a multi-state healthcare fraud operation worth over $15 million. The chief medical officer received 12 years